Hey guys, Tommy with Studio Sense here. Welcome to another day, another video. You know, whether you wear fragrance for the sole purpose of receiving compliments, and I highly suggest that you don't do that because you'll find yourself very disappointed, but whether you wear it for that reason or not, it still is really nice when you receive an unsolicited compliment. And by that I mean it's usually just out of the blue, you're usually surprised by it, and the person is very genuine. They're like, I really like what you're wearing. What is that? Usually, if you're like me, my mind is blank and I'm like, oh, it starts with a G and ends with Armani. And you have to think for a minute because you're taken a little bit by surprise. And even if you're one of those people that you feel you're kind of shy, you feel nervous, you feel like maybe you're put on the spot, much later on when you're at home by yourself, doesn't it still feel good when you think about it to receive just a little bit of flattery? Kind of a cool thing to happen. So when we return, I'm going to share with you guys my 5 most complimented winter fragrances, at least so far in 2023. I've got that and more coming up, so stay tuned. Welcome back, everyone. Regardless of your status in life, your station, no matter how much confidence that you have in yourself or how shy and nervous that you are around people, it's really nice when someone out of the blue gives you a compliment on what you're wearing, because it says a lot of things. It says that they have similar tastes, that they like what you like, right? Because obviously you're not going to wear something you hate. A momentary meeting of the minds, because they're saying, I like that, you like it, you're wearing it, you're sharing this appreciation of an olfactive smell or aroma kind of moment. But it also kind of validates you, and maybe it shouldn't. Maybe you shouldn't read that much into it, but it kind of makes you feel good for making the choice of that kind of fragrance. And it also makes you think, well, maybe I'm making good choices today. And you go about your day and you just feel just a bit better. And it doesn't cost that person anything. They probably feel good for paying you a genuine compliment as well. So I wanted to share with you guys my 5 most complimented winter fragrances so far this year. Now, how do you get a compliment? Compliments aren't something that you can necessarily usually solicit, because if you get a compliment and you've solicited it, in other words, you know you're wearing a really heavy, musky, weighted fragrance, and you go up to people and they smell that and it knocks them over and they're like, oh, what are you wearing? Or you go up to someone and say, what do you think of the fragrance that I'm wearing? That's a solicited compliment if they say something nice about it. One way that you have to kind of sort of be to get compliments, you have to be approachable, right? You can't be frowning, or you can't be, a wallflower, isolating yourself from people and expect someone to come up and give you a compliment. You've got to be around other people, and you've got to be open and amiable, and conversational. That relaxes people. It puts them at ease, and you're more likely to get a compliment from someone unsolicited if you're very generous with your openness and your personality. The first autumnal or cold weather or winter fragrance that I have gotten a ton of compliments on happens to actually be from Mugler. It is Angel for Men, the original Angel for Men. Now, Angel for Men is such a great fragrance. It's one of my favorite fragrances. It's what I would term a light gourmand fragrance, but it does have a really kind of a heavy, silvery, like a light metallic chocolate kind of note in it, which is like a fresh cacao. It's got a bit of peppermint, jasmine, honey, caramel. So it's a very mood elevating fragrance. I can remember the last time that I was at the post office, the lady across from the counter who was helping me ship my package was like, what are you wearing? I really like that. She wouldn't even let me answer before she told me, I really like whatever it is that you're wearing. And she asked again, what is that? She just went on and on about how she really, really liked that. And I was like, yeah, it's kind of a good fragrance, especially for the holidays, because it's got some foodie notes in it that remind people of kind of like a Christmas oriented type fragrance. Although it's very, very masculine, and it's also something that you can it's also a very versatile fragrance. Angel for Men can be a season-wide signature scent. It is extremely versatile. It's not just for the holidays. I've gotten more than just that one post office compliment off this fragrance. I've gotten multiple compliments, but this one that I told you about was the most recent. My next most complimented winter fragrance is one that I absolutely adore wearing. It is, and I don't use that term lightly. I've got a really good history with this fragrance. It is by Viktor and Rolf. It is none other than Spice Bomb Extreme. And it seems like the combination of, and you're going to see this come up more in this very short list that I'm doing today. But the combination of tobacco and vanilla, and then you add some, whether it's benzoin styrax or another kind of resin that kind of activates that combination of tobacco and vanilla, it's one of the best duos, or really trifectas, in a fragrance, and specifically for winter. It seems to really carry itself super well. Not only is it pleasant for us, the wearer, but it's extremely pleasant for someone to smell on you. Another good example is Mercedes-Benz Club Black, which I've gotten compliments on too. It's not on this list because I haven't worn it recently, but it is a great vanilla-oriented fragrance. You'll definitely get some positive remarks on that if you wear it around people. Again, cinnamon, cumin, saffron, tobacco, amber, vanilla, those are all part of what makes Spice Bomb Extreme such a aromatic wonder of bomb. Just like the presentation is a grenade. When you pull the pin on this grenade and you're out and about and around people, you will absolutely get compliments. My next most complimented winter fragrance is one that surprised me just how many compliments I got wearing it on the very first time that I wore it. I'm not even kidding. Yet again, there's the recurring theme of bourbon, vanilla, and something resinous like toffee, right? So you've got a combination of toffee and vanilla. You've got a kind of a nutty, lightly creamy, sweet addition in the cardamom, which is in the open of the Most Wanted. Fantastic gourmand fragrance, and I'm telling you, you cannot wear it around people without them saying something, without getting a compliment, unless they're used to it, unless they own it themselves, unless they're used to smelling it on you, it's kind of your signature scent or your thing, then they might not say anything, but usually people will pick up and say something around that fragrance just because of its aromatic body. Is so pleasing to the nose. Now keep in mind, guys, I'm not choosing this list, okay? I didn't sit down and think, well, I want to talk about these fragrances. So really, when you think about it, it's the people that have given me these compliments that actually curated today's list. They chose to compliment me on these fragrances, and that's kind of like real-world social proof that these fragrances are pleasing to other people. So my next most complimented winter fragrance happens to be one from Tom Ford, and again, we see that theme of tobacco and vanilla, and it is, of course, Tobacco Vanille. Tobacco Vanille is a palpably powerful, wonderful tobacco-oriented fragrance. Even though it may sound like these fragrances are very similar, they each carry their notes very differently. For example, Spice Bomb has tobacco and vanilla in it, but it smells nothing like Tobacco Vanille. Tobacco Vanille carries itself more in more of a refined, sophisticated, upper-class way than does Spice Bomb Extreme, but they both share different facets of vanilla and tobacco. I cannot wear Tobacco Vanille without somebody around me saying something. Of course, I guess it's me going to where people are when I'm actually wearing it. I think the last time the compliment that I got on it was we were at a restaurant, and the waitress that was waiting on us asked me what I was wearing because she really liked it. She did hover around our table quite a bit asking us what we needed, so I feel like that may have contributed to that to a degree. And it was a genuine, it wasn't like she wanted to get a bigger tip. We'd been there multiple times, and even though I don't know her personally, she knew us. She'd seen us there many times before and knew what kind of tippers we were and all of that. So my point is, it was a genuine compliment. And there again, Tobacco Vanille has that trifecta, the resins, the tobacco, the vanilla. And it's almost like those resins are scratch and sniff on the tobacco and vanilla. The notes are working overtime. They're hyperactive. It does have that kind of light upper class feeling about it, but you can wear it pretty much anywhere in cold weather. The last of my 5 winter fragrances that pull the most compliments when I'm wearing it is one from Christian Dior, and it is Dior Fahrenheit Parfum, or Le Parfum. You want to talk about a fantastic combination. It's vanilla, it's rum, and charisma. Maybe that's the trifecta. Charisma may not be a note, but it sure seems like it when you're wearing Dior Fahrenheit Parfum. It is reminiscent of the original Fahrenheit. That violet note comes in there. You kind of feel like you've got that old school fossil fuel smell. I don't want to say the original Fahrenheit smells dated, but there definitely is more of a modern, warm, kind of more inviting sensibility in the Parfum edition that I absolutely love. And again, it's that vanilla and rum and a little bit of violet in the background cheerleading the way for a bigger, better experience with a vanilla rum combination. You've also got several, there's like guaiac, birch, cedar, some other woods that give it a very strong, staunch, woody background too, from which the fragrance benefits. The Open has this pink pepper. I think there's also lemon and lavender that's making some headway into that heart, which is where the depth and the breadth of Dior Fahrenheit parfum come from, which is the vanilla and the rum, a little bit of violet there. So it's supremely blended. Such a fascinating, intelligent fragrance. I'm often going to the post office, and I'm often going to this one Walgreens because it's close. And then we have this store that I get a few items, like food items from. At least one employee at each of those 3 places had said something about Dior Fahrenheit parfum when I've been wearing it, that they really like my fragrance. But I do wear Dior Fahrenheit parfum frequently in the winter because it's a great autumnal fragrance and it's a great cold weather winter fragrance. Now, the thing about winter fragrances is there are quite a few, and I try to vary them. You know, I kind of have this rotation of fragrances that I like to move forward, move some back, so that I give each one of them some hang time in cold weather. And so this is going to change. Once I go through that new rotation, I'll do another most complimented winter fragrance list and update it. Well, that's a wrap on today's video. Thanks so much for taking some time out and hanging out with me while I tell my stories on the compliments that I've gotten on these fragrances. I hope that you guys have also received some unsolicited compliments on your fragrances. It's kind of a cool thing to happen. Again, it's not a reason to wear them, but it's a nice adjunct to the purpose and the reason for wearing a fragrance. And by the way, the purpose and reason for wearing a fragrance should always be to make yourself feel good, right? It's secondary to receive a compliment, but it's kind of a nice thing to happen. Share some compliments that you've received that have made your day, kind of, sort of, in the comments below as well. Or if there are other fragrances that seem to pull you more compliments, more unsolicited compliments, let us know what those are. Thanks again for sticking around. As always, thank you so much for your support on my channel. I'm Tommy with Studio Sense, and I'll see you tomorrow.